Welcome back to another episode of the Black Cinema Experience
Podcast.
I'm your girl, JB.
And I am Cameron.
And this week we're back with another exciting episode of the Black Cinema Experience Podcast. This week we watched an interview with Oprah on her show that's streaming on HBO.
Yes.
The show is called Super Soul. And this week she had a deep dive on Black mental health with Courtney B. Vance and Dr.Robin Smith. So I'm going to pass the ball to Cameron. Cameron, what was your take of this interview?
I thought it was very timely in an age where we need to discuss Black men's mental health. Because, some of us are causing the ruckus out there. I feel like it helps identify the problem and gets to the root of it. So it's very necessary watch.
Okay, it's a necessary watch.
It's one step. It's not a heal-all pill, but it's a very necessary step.
Yeah. I can only agree with you because I feel like I personally know a lot of Black men who in the last few months, because I do pride myself on being a comfort, have told me about their feelings of like depression and struggling with, just certain thoughts, the ones, y'all. And it's really hard as a Black woman to hear that. And I feel like there aren't a lot of tools and resources available for Black men to comfortably take advantage of mental health. I think that this interview was a wonderful gateway into better health.
Yeah.
What was in this whole interview that we have with them, what was the most shocking thing that you learned in the interview that she had?
I think the most shocking thing is that usually with a lot of mental health issues, you feel like you're the only one. And so when you hear like the statistics of things, that you hear like the staggering number, like, oh, it's not just me. It's like a lot of people struggling with the same issues I have, And so I don't feel like it's necessarily comforting, but it makes you realize that, okay, it is a problem. So there are people who are working to address it. And that's what it gave you like a sense of hope. Because like, okay, we can fix the issue because once you identify the issue, you can now start to heal the issue.
Yeah. One of the things that Dr. Robin Smith was saying was that we have to first identify, what therapy really is.
Exactly.
And she goes deep into it. I'm not going to give you guys all the bits because this is a short one. And I need you guys to go and watch this yourself, okay? But she gives you just tips on what therapy really is. Like, they had little segments from other people that, like regular people, like normal people who read the book and just talked a little bit about their experience, like dealing with certain trauma, dysfunction, abuse, like things of that sort. And it's just things that you don't think about when you think about Black men because, the whole world has this hyper masculine perspective of the Black male. And we don't allow them the graces to simply exist, to feel, to be. So a lot of them struggle with these feelings of depression, anxiety, just sadness all by themselves. And in this story, Courtney B. Vance gets a little personal for us, and he tells us some snippets about his life. And it definitely helped the audience connect better with, wow, we're really trying to address this mental health bubble.
No, seriously. And I think it's just so important that like to see like somebody who has, a career in something like entertainment, talk about how this affects not just him, but his, career, but also his family. Being somebody who has a wife and children to raise that are Black, and his wife is also in the business. So making it so like he can be healthy. Angela Bassett did the thing, okay?
Angela Bassett did the thing. Yeah, that's right.
But seriously, so I feel like it's a very, very necessary watch, and I guess I can't say it enough like how timely it is after having to go through COVID, after having gone through all these protests and like what's going on in politics and what's going on in healthcare and just everything. So with all the information we're being bombarded with, it's good to see this being showcased as well.
Right. And it's really easy too because of unhealed trauma in our community. It's really easy to see things that the Black man goes through and to, in certain ways, minimize it. So I will say for Black women there, and for all women, but for Black women specifically, there is a good amount of accountability that this small 42-minute interview makes us take for our role in it. One question was asked during the interview, well, how can I better, support my husband if he's going through certain depressions, anxieties, suicidal thoughts, etc. And in that, the therapist or Dr. Robin she told her the first thing you can do and the best thing you do is take care of yourself. And there is so much truth to that, because you cannot help your partner if you are constantly depleted. If you're focusing all of your energy on building that man up and keeping him strong and safe, you're not going to be able to actually be a good resource for him. So you have to build yourself up first. So there's gems in this interview for everybody, men and women. But I will say it definitely helps me give the Black man a bit more grace. And it also helped me see the mirror, for myself in the ways where I'm like, toughen up, it's fine, life is life, versus actually taking the more empathetic approach that I would actually appreciate as a Black woman. But culturally speaking, we don't do that for each other, and we haven't seen it enough. So it made this interview for me just was very meaningful. Like she says in the beginning, like, share with another Black man. And I was like, I know a Black man I can share it with. So I shared it with my Instagram. I shared it with Cameron. But I honestly think that this is a must-watch documentary or a must-read book.
Yeah.
I haven't read the book yet. What was the title of the book, Cameron?
The Invisible Ache.
The Invisible Ache. Okay. Yeah. So what does that title mean to you? I know you said when we were watching it that the title it felt meaningful.
Well, because Oprah did like a gesture where she was like, oh. and I felt the exact same thing before she did it, because it was like, when you think about the subject, it's like it's invisible because Black men tend to not talk about their pain and have to walk around with this pain, not be able to express it because, like you said, the hypermasculinity, and which is usually scary to people,
right?
And it can be scary to women too, especially Black women who have to deal with Black men sometimes, So it's an ache you carry around that not people can see, but like it's obviously felt. You know? So.
Yeah, no, that was a really, really great definition of that for sure. The invisible ache, I perceived it as the cry never heard, like the type of pain that you don't know is there. Yeah, like crowd flesh, like when horses get injured and their skin heals up over the top, but underneath there's still a giant wound and they can never heal right again.
Exactly.
Same thing. So when I heard the invisible ache, I was like, okay, I get it. I'm understanding here, because Black men, I feel like they might even be fearful to cry out for themselves, and like there is a moment in the interview where, guy's expressing how he experienced, he tried to commit suicide, and the therapist said, I'm so glad that you made it out, like made it alive, but I'm also so happy that you were able to cry out for help and receive it. And I think that there's a huge thing in our community of, just so many negative stereotypes of like, even asking for help, right? On both sides, the women and male sides, there's such a negative stereotype behind, needing help or needing people or any of that, that we don't cry out for help. We're afraid that we're going to be, silenced or shushed or ignored. And it weighs on our psyche. It keeps us locked in the same systems. And I mean, we're just seeing so many things about systems right now. I mean, even including they clone Tyrone, which is all about systematic things that are already in play with or without our help. So I think that it's really important to watch this documentary, because I believe in my heart that the intention behind it is to break systems, and to, help Black people become aware that we don't have to have a life of struggle. Like, we don't have to live in like poverty and pain
at all.
Like we can definitely have better, and we can break the cycle. So totally a great watch. It is a interview on HBO streaming right now.
Yes.
It's Oprah. We love Oprah, so it's shot well, real classy. And who doesn't want to see
it's money?
Big money
behind
it feels like money when she talks. I can just feel it through the screen.
And I just want to say, it's so good to see, like, you can see Black people, real Black people who have done the work,
right?
And I feel like that's really important to see.
Yeah.
Visual, like, like, I can be a healthy Black person.
Yeah.
And successful and thrive.
Yeah. I'm just human.
Exactly.
Having a great time. Living my best life. So if you guys have some time, check out the interview with Oprah.
Yes.
And if you are a book lover and you want to support Courtney Vance, which directly supports Angela Bassett and another Black woman, Robin Smith, please go check out this book as well. Again, it's called The Invisible Ache, and we love it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in to our mini episode. We'll see you guys next week on the Black Cinema Experience podcast.